Thank you for your time. Where are you from?
I'm from Turkey.
Turkey. Today's main topic is what brought you to Japan. So could you tell me the reason you came here? What made you to come here?
So I wanted to experience a totally different culture, and I also wanted to learn Japanese. I thought, if I get exposed to the culture and language here, it would be a lot easier for me to learn Japanese. So that's why I came here.
Okay. So you learn Japanese?
I'm learning Japanese, yeah.
Okay. So are you learning Japanese as a major or just self-taught?
Well, mostly I would say self-taught. I took a class, just a beginner class in Turkey, but it wasn't anything serious. It was like once a week lesson.
Okay.
And then I studied by myself using an app before coming here.
Okay.
So I studied for about 6 months in total.
What was the first reason that you thought I will study Japanese?
I'm interested in a lot of languages, and my major is translation and interpreting studies, and I had to take additional classes at university, different language classes. So I studied some Russian, some Chinese, and I also Japanese. And I love learning languages, but I like Japanese the most. Yes, I think it's because it has many similarities with my native language, Turkish. The grammar, it's very similar, and the pronunciation seems easy. I think it's a lot easier than English pronunciation.
Is it because your mother tongue is Turkish, or do you think pronunciation of Japanese language is easier in general?
Well, I think it's easier in general because Japanese doesn't really have a lot of different sounds. The sounds in Japanese are very limited. The alphabets, there are many of them, but the sounds are very limited. For example, I think it's half. When you compare it to English, the sounds are half of what they have in English. So that's, I think, for most people, it might be easier to pronounce Japanese.
Vowel in English, a lot.
Yes, a lot more than Japanese, right? But also, we have similar sounds in Turkish, so I think that helps as well.
Okay. So you mentioned that you studied other languages too, various languages too, and you obviously speak very fluent English. Do you speak some other languages fluently?
Not really. I took Russian for 3 years at university. It's a long time, but I didn't really use it after I graduated. So that's the thing with languages. If you stop using the language, you'll forget all about it. With Chinese as well. And in high school, I had some German and French, so I don't remember anything at all because I didn't really use it. After I graduated, I started working as a translator, and I only translate from English to Turkish or vice versa. I didn't really need to speak any other languages, so that's why I forgot most of it.
So that's why you decided to come to Japan to force yourself to be in the environment you should speak Japanese.
Exactly, that's right.
Okay, so what do you do in Japan, or you just came here, but what are you going to do here?
So I've been here for about 2 weeks, and I started working as an English instructor, and I'm also continuing working as a freelance translator.
So is it first time to work abroad?
Yes, this is my first time being abroad.
To be abroad?
Yes, I was born in Istanbul and I lived all my life there until 2 weeks ago.
Okay, so it sounds very brave decision to come here.
Yes.
What made you to decide to go abroad and to work this time, especially this time?
Well, I've always wanted to go and live in a different country. I didn't want to go there as a tourist. So that's been on my time for a long time. But I was just waiting for the right moment. And after working as a translator for 6 years, I started working after I graduated, immediately after graduation. And I thought, okay, it's time. So I did this. And now I can go live in another country.
Okay. Kind of you felt you completed the job. Okay. Is it normal that in Turkey that you get job right after graduation?
Yes, you can get a job right after you graduate. It depends on the university. Some universities really help their students. My first job, I found it thanks to my instructor. at university. Yeah.
Okay.
In my country, mostly in our third year or last year, we have to do an internship. So we go work in a company for about a month, and they pay you. So
They pay you?
yeah, and they also pay you. So you get used to the working environment before you graduate.
Is it like mandatory for all of students?
Yes, I think like 25 days. It has to be something like that. It's mandatory for, as far as I know, for all university students who are studying for 4 years or more
In Turkey?
in Turkey.
Not only your university, but also
No.
other.
Yes.
Okay. Kind of like an internship is included into curriculum
Yes,
of Turkish
exactly.
university.
Exactly. It's in the
okay.
curriculum.
So getting back to the topic about Japan again, and you mentioned that you came here 2 weeks ago, and you haven't spent much time here. But so far, what kind of impression you got here about Japan?
So when you're not near the big stations, it's very peaceful and quiet. And I don't see many cars. It's just people walking or just riding a bike, and everybody's so respectful. So yeah, that was my first impression.
By interacting with them, you felt that.
Yeah.
Okay.
But not just by interacting. I can see that, for example, like when I stand back to give way to somebody else, and they are just yeah, thanking me. And also like on the street, people, like old people, usually they do this when they see me. So everybody, they're all really quiet in the neighborhood as well. So they're respecting other people. Yeah, I don't really have to like interact much to see that.
Okay. Like from the atmosphere, you
Yes,
feel
the
the
behaviors.
So interviews, that's all. So it was very nice to talk with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. I had fun as well.
Thank you for your time. Where are you from?
I'm from Colombia.
Colombia. Okay. South America.
Yeah, South America.
Okay. It's very far from Japan.
Very far away. It was like 2 days traveling.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Where did you do the transit?
I went to Mexico, which is 5 hours flight, and then 21-hour layover, and then the flight to Japan is 14 hours and 40 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So how long are you staying in Japan?
In total, 2 months, and so far I've been 1 month.
So where did you visit in Japan so far?
So far, I've only been in Tokyo for 1 whole month almost, and now I'm in Hiroshima just 1 day. I'm going to be in Kyoto and Osaka next.
So I want to ask about this. What brought you to Japan? Like what made you interested in coming to Japan?
So I've been liking Asian culture in general for years, but Japan definitely catches my attention a lot more because your culture and all your traditions are like completely opposite to mine, and I'm very drawn to that, very different things. And also art and architecture, history, I have a passion for all of that, and the Asian styles, especially Japanese art style, it's very, very beautiful to me. So I wanted to see all of that in person. Also, the contrast between the very modern and the old things, the traditional things, like you can see that everywhere. From the buildings, like you see a little shrine, super old shrine, and a very huge building behind it. So that's very interesting to me.
So far, during 1 month trip in Tokyo, in what kind of place did you find authentic Japan for you?
Asakusa, because of the temple. I love the temple, Sensoji. But also what I imagine, like what you get in your mind when you first think of Kyoto, I guess it's something like Shinjuku or Harajuku. That's the most, with all the lights and all the, in the buildings, like advertising. That's what comes to mind, like for modern Tokyo. And for old Tokyo, it's Asakusa, which is like the temple and the little markets with sweets and foods. I think both of those are were very Japan to me.
So far in Tokyo, like you found like traditional side in Asakusa
Yeah.
and the modern side in Shinjuku, Harajuku.
Exactly.
Okay. Like so far, you visit only in Tokyo, but what was your highlight? Like what was your like most memorable experience in Tokyo?
I don't think there was something specific, like some activity. I think it was more like a general thing, like just walking and getting lost in the city, and then finding maybe a little restaurant that you can find on Google Maps. And it turns out it was really good, and it was very traditional. Like when you get in a restaurant and there's no foreigners, only Japanese people, that's where you know it's really good because it's traditional, you know. So that kind of thing, like getting lost and seeing cool places that are not too crowded, that was cool to me. And also there's this thing in Japan, I guess, especially in Tokyo, since I saw it there, you get like buildings that are actually shopping malls, but you don't know they're shopping malls. For me, it's like that's a building where people live, but then you get in maybe because you see a restaurant, and then every store is like, every floor is like the restaurants, and then you get maybe a museum and a cafe, and then you get a terrace, and it's like unexpected places. I think that's my favorite thing.
I don't encounter Colombian people so much, so it is good opportunity for viewers to know about your culture, your country. So could you share a little bit about what it's like you're in Colombia?
So we are a very diverse country. We have 2 different seas. We have a lot of biodiversity, like the animals, birds, and like a lot of species. We have a part of the Amazonian forest.
Diversity in terms of not race?
No, biodiversity.
Biodiversity.
Yeah.
Okay.
But also people, I guess, because we're a mix from indigenous people and Spanish people that colonized us and African people. So there's a lot of diversity also in that sense. And we get a lot of foreigners in Medellin and Cartagena. Especially, it's very popular to like buy maybe an apartment or a house there, because if you have dollars, then it's a lot cheaper because our coin is the conversion is very profitable for them, so they have like a lot of properties there. It's a very popular place to like buy things and stay there for a while, and like there's a lot of nightlife, you party a lot, you eat really good, and there's a lot of nature around it, so it's really cool.
Are they from like Europe or?
Mostly Americans, like from the United States, but also Europeans. I don't see many Asian people.
Basically, there are not so many Asian people in Colombia.
Yeah, no, I don't think it's a popular place to travel for Asian people since it's so far. I don't see many Asian people over there.
I see. So lastly, you mentioned a little bit about your country, Colombia. So if we go there, if we visit Colombia, what kind of experience do you recommend us to have in Colombia?
So starting from where I live in Medellin, you can, as I say, you can party a lot, you can eat a lot. There's a lot of really good restaurants, and on the outskirts you can like go hiking a lot. There's a lot of nature activities. There is huge rock which you can climb to the top, and there's a beautiful view. It's called Guatapé. It's like a little town, but it has a stone, a huge stone, and you go to the top. And the stone is called El Peñol. And then you can go to Cartagena, which is, there's a lot of beaches. It's really beautiful. It has an old town, which used to be a very popular port. It's a beautiful city. And you can go a lot south for a desert called Atacama, which is super beautiful. It's not so as popular as the other ones, but if you go there, you're gonna see the stars in a super clear sky, and you can see the Milky Way. It looks very beautiful, so you should definitely go there. It's called Atacama Desert.
Atacama. Okay. Thank you for your recommendation. It was very nice to talk with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
ご視聴ありがとうございました。いかがだったでしょうか？動画のご感想やテーマのご要望などコメント欄で教えていただけますと幸いです。たくさんのコメントお待ちしております。チャンネル登録の際は通知ボタンもお忘れなく。